Erica Reed. I'll introduce myself shortly. So my presentation is going to focus more about what is possible with Drupal, right? So you got modules, you got D.org, you know, all of us are talented in code skills. I want to show you what the world of Drupal 7 can be like. What can you build? So NBA team sites, first of all, how many basketball fans do we have in here? Have any of you guys visited any team site? So a Lakers site, a Heat site, a Celtic site? Okay. Go home tonight and do it. So the NBA team sites are actually built on Drupal 7 now. NBA.com is on a proprietary CMS, but the team sites are on Drupal. So that's what I'm here to share with you today. So I'm going to give a high-level overview of sort of a quick history of where we came from and then where we are today. We'll actually look at the sites and show you some of the cool new things we've done with Drupal 7. And my laptop is here, so I'm going to be back and forth. All right, so my name is Erica Reed. I am a application implementation manager, so a long title to say I'm a development manager. And then Ed Seifert's here with me. He's a senior web developer. We both have been with Teams. Well, he's been with Team Sites longer. I've been with Team Sites almost 3 years. I think Ed about, what, 4 years? Yeah, or 3 years? Yep, so almost 4. So we both are developers by trade. I still code, you know, dabble in code and have side projects and so forth. So, but that's who we are, Erica and Ed. All right, so let's start with the history. So let's go back to the year 2012. 2012, the NBA team sites were hosted on a custom-built CMS built by the NBA. So I mean built from scratch, you know, to publish a story, to add a photo, to do an RSS feed. It was all from scratch. So long story short, it was working, but it just wasn't sustainable, right? Plus, we were in a new age where there are tools like Drupal and WordPress and so forth that can do these things for you. So long story short, we got the opportunity to bring the team sites onto Drupal 6 in 2012. So we spent most of that year deploying them out on Drupal 6. And it was a little sort of staggered approach. So we brought the team sites over as they were. And I'll show you one in a second. So we did some tweaks. We added some new components, but pretty much they were the same sites that they were before Drupal 6. So that's what we did in 2012. About 70% of what we did was shared across the teams. And then the other remaining 30% was what we used to call one-offs. So the Rockets may have wanted something special. The Hawks may have wanted something special. The Lakers wanted this. So you can imagine support-wise, that is a challenge, right? So you've got a core platform that's not quite covering everything, and then you're always doing these one-offs. So then also in 2012, we launched mobile sites. So long story short, there were legacy mobile sites as well. They were really old school. So we decided to build mobile sites. Now we did use Drupal for the mobile sites just to host and serve the files, but all of the UI, the site rendering was all JavaScript. So 2012, we're in a world where we have 2 platforms now, desktop and mobile. So support has gone up, right? So if you want a custom link to do X, we got to do it on desktop, we got to do it on mobile. So that's the world we were in 2012. All right, so 2013, we kept the sites on Drupal 6, and then we also launched a video redesign. It was just a refresh of the video page, nothing huge, but we kind of launched a newly organized and better looking video experience. All right, so Drupal 6, this is a long chart. Some of the big wins we've had with Drupal 6, CMS publishing out of the box, right? So that's one of the cool things about Drupal. You don't have to code a story publish. You don't have to design workflows and how they work in code, right? It's there. Centralized templating, like I said, 70% of our platform was shared across teams. We had an extendable platform with modules. So we used to get requests like, hey, I want to put my external headlines into my news headlines area. So we could go and find modules that did that, tweak them, decide to use them or not, or build something custom. Create custom pages. This is a unique thing. The teams want the ability to create from scratch custom pages with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I'll show you an example later. So we did build that for them in Drupal 6. It's basically an area to drop whatever custom code they wanted. And then basic site configuration, some of the things that come with Drupal they didn't have before. So they could do their own redirects. They could set up their own URL aliases. So it gave them a little bit more power on how they could configure their site. But here were the opportunities. This is where what we needed to think about. So we had an old design. Like I said, we brought over the design as is with some minor tweaks. Content was thrown on the site, so it was really cluttered. We had 2 platforms, desktop and mobile. Covered that already. We had limited flexibility on what the teams could change. So what you saw is what they had. If they wanted a new box to show blog headlines or a new video player here or just anything added, we were kind of fixed in terms of what we could do there. So they were very limited on changes to their site. We did have a multi-site installation. We started out with that for Drupal 6 and then decided in Drupal 7 we probably don't need it, and we didn't use it. And then also we had clusters of teams, right? So we've got 30 teams, and basically we had 6 clusters of just groups of teams on the same architecture stack. And then Drupal 7 had come out in 2011, so we were like, what do we do? Do we go for it or not? And then the other thing was we had this growing mobile and tablet audience. So that was something we needed to think about for the future of team sites. So where do we go? So this is a big NBA campaign. I think it's from 2012. It was go big or think big. They would put a verb in front of the word big. We had to go big, right? We had to figure out where do we go next with these team sites. So these were kind of the new goals we set out, and this is this year. We've done a lot this year. It's August, and we've done so much this year. It's amazing. So first we started with a brand new site design. Okay, so the NBA, through a design relationship with the vendor, sat down and said, these new sites have got to be different. So that happened actually last year. And then 2, we thought about responsive design. Now I know that's something you guys are probably being challenged with, right? Do you go responsive or do you not? There's a lot of unique challenges. So if you have clients or you're building a site that has ads, how's that supposed to work? How far are you supposed to go responsive? Do you do Galaxy Note 3 for phablets, and like how deep do you go? So all those design decisions we had to consider. 3, wanted to add more flexibility for the teams. We didn't want someone calling us at night because they wanted a banner on their news page, or they wanted to customize, a promo they added. So we had to think about that. Simpler editorial workflows, which I can say Drupal 7 brought just out of the box, right? It was cleaner, it's simpler. The next thing, single silo for each team site. So we decided we didn't need multi-site installation, and we could basically set up a server stack for a team and then just replicate that 30 times. All right, and then single code base. That was one of our big things. We had to have everything sharing the same code base, but we also had to build in flexibility with that. But we weren't just doing something for the rockets and doing just something just for the nuggets. It was all in, all one platform. And then number 8, centralized ad management. How many of you guys work with sites that have ads on them? 1, 2, 3. All right, so you gotta think about 4. You gotta think about ads, right? So if you ever have the opportunity to build a site with ads, it can go all kind of ways. From copy pasting ads to actually using an ad server like Google DFP or several others that are out there. So we do have paid ads. So when you're thinking about a responsive site, what do? Does ads auto adjust or that kind of thing? So for us, we decided to centralize ad management. The teams can turn on or off certain ads from their site in certain placements. It just gives them a way to manage those revenue generating areas on their site. So here's our timeline. We started coding just this January, right? We had nothing done. We started from scratch. And then in April, we had our core platform ready. Now, I have a team, at the time it was 6 to 7 developers, but we also did work with the Drupal vendor to get some more horsepower. So we did get it done in 4 months, and I'll show you what we built shortly. And then from April to June, we had to roll all 30 out before the playoffs were over. So me and Ed have had many sleepless days and nights. The summertime was like our first break, right after June. So all that has happened this year. And those little logos, so the first site we rolled out was Bucks, the last one was Heat, because everyone thought they would win the championship, but that didn't happen. All right, so here's just a quick glimpse of our stack. So backend, we're on the latest version of Drupal 7.31. As Ivan mentioned, we use Akamai for our CDN at Turner. We're using Memcache, we're using Nginx. Saw those in Ivan's presentation as well. On the front end, so before we just had HTML just all over the place and CSS all over the place, JavaScript all over the place. So we decided to get smarter and use Bootstrap. We have a Sass port of Bootstrap. We're using Compass and Sass. jQuery, we're using the Radix theme for Drupal 7. And then we are using panels, and we are using views as well. So that's what I say, it's kind of a evaluating go. We've seen problems with both, but we kind of recognized the limitations and found ways to work around them. And we're still doing that. Some of our internal tools we use are Git for code repositories management. We use Bamboo for build and deploys, and of course New Relic, which Ivan mentioned. Mm-hmm. Yes?
You mentioned these are single silo sites?
Say that again?
This is not a multi-site.
These are all single silo.
And would you classify any of these sites as high traffic?
They are high. Well, so not like PGA. They're not 1 million views per month, but they can be high traffic. So when LeBron moved to the Cavaliers, high traffic day. Don Sterling, high traffic day. So pretty much and it varies by teams too. Some teams suck. Atlanta Hawks, unfortunately. I'm serious. Our own Atlanta Hawks is probably one of our lower traffic sites versus, you know, the Celtics, Heat, or Spurs, right? The Dream are doing well, yeah. But it depends. So our sites kind of are not what we classify as high traffic all the time, but they have to have the ability to go high traffic because we have high traffic days. All right. Okay, so quick wins, and then I'll show you what the site looks like. Win number 1, single code platform. We had a unique challenge. Most people build one Drupal site for one client for one need. We had to build one Drupal site for 30 folks for many needs. So that was our big win. And again, our biggest thing was not to build it and put everybody in a corner and say, I'm sorry, this is how you have to do it on your Drupal site. We wanted to put them in a place where they could go forth, and I'll show you an example in the next slide, with customizing their site on their own as they need it. And then we're constantly, right now we're tweaking to add even more flexibility as we get the requests from the teams. So, and I'll show you the slide in a second, the next slide. Win number 2, responsive design. Responsive design is a challenge. If you've never done a responsive site, believe it or not, you would think the coding is a challenge. It's the work you do before the coding that's also a big challenge, right? So if you have a designer handing you a mock-up and they just say make it responsive, you probably should hand it back and say, how is this supposed to work, right? It's a continuous design experience. It's, okay, this sticker is this big on this page. How big is it going to be on mobile? What's going to happen when Chris Murray's name doesn't fit here? So we went through all of that while we were building the site, and we're constantly making those decisions. It's not just a desktop site that fits within a fixed page content area. It is a fluid site.
You are getting mobile first?
So we did not do a mobile first design, but we did do mobile first in terms of development. We want to build things so that they do work lightly and fastly on mobile, and we're still making tweaks in that area. Because responsive design is a learn and grow thing. You can't read a book and go do it right. You can't pick up a tutorial and say, yep, we did it right. It's something you do, and then you keep doing, and you keep going, and you keep going. That's just how responsive design works. So if you get that challenge, just realize it's not about figuring out how to make it code to be adaptive or responsive. It's a collaborative relationship with whomever the designer is. Constant decisions about how things should look on different devices. Okay? The other thing we did was dynamic ad tag generation. So in our old world, we had a spreadsheet of ads that people would copy and paste in different places in Drupal. And we were like, we can't do that anymore. It's not going to work. So we have, and I'll show you in the next screen. We have like divs like this in the HTML, and we put little attributes, what sizes work for what breakpoints. And then we have a custom JS library that makes decisions based on all that data up there and sticks in an ad tag. We just decided we cannot be in the world of, if you do, I don't know, let's say there's hundreds of ads per team times 30, it gets to be crazy. Nobody has time to copy paste it yet. And then we have people call us, oh, the wrong ad is showing up on my schedule page. It's because you copied it from your home page and then copied it here, and it was a mess. It was truly a mess. Yes?
Does every team have their own Drupal site administrator?
Does every team have their own Drupal
site administrator?
No. So let me describe how that works. My team is the site administrators. So our team is sort of the Drupal core developers. Now the teams do have web developers to build custom pages, and I'll show you one of those in a second. Those custom pages with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All the PHP work and all the Drupal work is our team.
So who is the they that you're referring to that calls you up and says, this doesn't work, but we want to do this?
The they is either the NBA league, because they have a staff that supports the teams, or the teams themselves. Because remember, they're working around the clock. While I'm in here giving this presentation, they're out publishing video. When games are going, they're working up to 1, 2 a.m. at night while we're in our beds. So we're there, though, to give them support around the clock. All right? All right. And then the other thing was editorial customization. We kind of took a self-service approach, right? If you want to change your background, you don't have to call us. You can change it. If you want to change your link colors, you got it. We kind of built those things in, and as we move forward, we're going to continue to do more of that. The other area is the site-wide overrides. We have an area where they can add their own JavaScript and CSS, and it gets written out on every page. So if they want to add, I don't know, a red bird on every page, they can do that. All right, so this is just an example. We used to get calls for this. I want to change my hex color on my links. I want to change my hex color on these buttons. So we said, you know what? Let's let them do it. And so this is what they can do. So they can customize colors for different areas of their site. They can upload different images. And then below this, you don't see it here, they can add those overrides for JavaScript and CSS. So cute little menu, right? Not a lot in terms of like programming. There's a module that does this. I believe it's Colorizer.
Just plain color, and it's native in responsive margin, in margin. It's standard thing.
Well, we're using Colorizer.
Yeah, Colorizer. Yes, Colorizer. But we just needed something out of the box that gives them this pretty way to just change colors. And it's so crazy. Something so simple to us can be so advanced to someone who's not technical. They love this thing because they can change their colors all the time. So Miami Heat, every playoffs, they turn their site all white and call themselves the White Hot Heat. They used to call us to make their site all white. Now they can pretty much do it on their own. All right, and the last one is we did it all in 6 months. So for you people who are new to Drupal, that shows you the power. What was that question? Yeah, 6 months. Now we had more developers than our team at Turner. We got help, but the help was coding help. But that just goes to show you with different, just if you pull together those different modules, those skills, and Drupal, what it gives you out of the box, it's a lot you can do with it. And of course, we had rockstar developers. All my developers are Drupal savvy, but when new things hit them, they learn it, they go and they build something in 2 weeks. So rockstar team who's always digging in to figure out how things should work. All right, so site demo. You guys ready to see it? All right. This is the Cavalier site, and this is the live site. I just pulled it up about an hour ago. So I'm going to walk you through real quick what we have. Feel free to stop and ask quick questions. So the home page is the sort of main hub for a team, right? This is the first place you land. So we were working last night, we released the regular season schedules were released for all of NBA teams in the NBA League. So all the teams are touting their schedule in this top area. So we have the main menu. Main menu can be completely customized by the team, self-service. Okay? It used to not be that way. So someone would call us, can you add, this to this? And we would have to figure out how to do it. All right, that's an ad there. This area is a news area. We call it the news block. Basically, they have the ability here to put different size objects in one area. So if tomorrow they want to do 2 rows with 3 objects in it, they can do it. They don't have to call us. This area was built to be truly flexible to have different grid boxes. All right, this is another news block. So see what they did here? They did this on their own. They didn't have to call us, hey, I need a new layout. It's sort of a drag and drop interface to create different grid layouts of news. Video player there, and there's a playlist here. I think I paused it when this was loading, but there's thumbnails here on the side. And, oh, I'm sorry, they're shifted down because I'm on this presentation screen. And then content stream. So this is a flowing, auto-updating area of all their stories, photos, and videos. And you have the ability to filter it here at the top. And then on the side, we have a social timeline. So they wanted a way to just, put some of their social posts here on the home page, and those auto-update as well on page refresh. And then the bottom, we have a footer. But the whole point you get it is that's one site. You might go to the Hawk site. It looks same layout, but it looks different. Celtic site looks different. So we gave them a core platform. Sorry, that's my internet thing. Core platform that can be flexible enough to make their sites look different. So to show you some other pages, this is our news page. So again, we got a news block and links to some articles. This is a story page, gallery page. So this is a gallery of archives, and I stopped the loading while I was in the room, so that's why those are not loading. And then here's a photo gallery. Our photo gallery experience before was terrible. It was click next and previous, and it would load a new page for each photo. It was terrible. So this one is a little bit better. You can click here and load different photos in this main area. It's more of a slideshow experience. All right, we have, and I'm going fast through these, but I can definitely answer questions. Video. So we wanted a huge video player, almost like a TV-like experience with the black, areas around it. So that's what we have on our video pages. And then there's thumbnails to get to featured videos. And one of the cool things we did in Drupal 6 and 7 is video playlist. So one of the neat things about Drupal is you can aggregate and automate content with views or whatever method you choose. So we do a lot of that on the sites. The teams have the ability to tag videos as LeBron and then go get a LeBron video playlist. They don't have to curate them together by hand. So we have a lot of those things built in on our Drupal sites. All right, tickets is a very simple page. Just got some promo areas for tickets. This is my favorite page, the schedule page. So our schedule page before was an HTML table with little bitty text to tell you when the games were going. It almost looked like a stale Excel spreadsheet. So the schedule page now, it just looks better. It's really cool looking to me. And some of these logos are missing because I paused it while we're loading. But this is the schedule page. So we just launched last night's schedule. So the new 2014-15 regular season schedule is live. Roster pages, we got nice friendly faces, including Mr. LeBron. So the roster pages before were, again, like Excel spreadsheet tables. This design has big face pictures, and then for each player you can get the stats for that player. All right, and then we got play.
You were talking about the out-of-box experience earlier.
Yep.
How custom was that?
So the roster pages, these next set of pages are literally, we decided to use client-side JavaScript for these, not Drupal views or whatever panels. We decided to use straight-up JavaScript because we're reading a feed. I take that back. We're using Drupal to cache the feed, short-term cache, because we don't want everyone to get those feeds from JavaScript, but then all the interaction and display of it is JavaScript. And so again, that's a decision you have to make. Before we were doing, all Drupal, and the complaint was my updates to the site are taking too long. Someone goes in the roster and I don't see them for an hour. We tried to bump down cache time. We fought with it, and we were like, we got to do this different. So that's why I say you have to evaluate all your mechanisms. Sometimes Drupal doesn't do everything, and sometimes it does. All right, and then we have player stats. So this is a custom page. So the Warriors have built this page on their own. They didn't call us. So they have someone on their staff who writes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and they were able to put this up on their own, and they can take it down whenever they're ready. So that's an example of team flexibility that we built in.
Does the header wrap that?
Does the what now?
Does the header footer wrap this content if you mold it?
So we gave them two versions. They have a version with header and footer, and they have a version without. So that way, if you want it, you can have it. If you don't, you don't have.
In that second instance, it works more like a landing page.
It's like a landing. Yeah. So they do splash pages without the header footer if they're trying to promo ticket packages or something like that. And in some cases, there's just pages that they share with third parties. They don't want a header and footer on it. But we built it both ways. They don't change Drupal themes, but they can do CSS to their heart's delight. So we've had the Warriors take their home page, our DOM as is, but restyle everything. So just to make it look totally different. So they do have that ability to do that, but they're not actually changing Drupal themes. They don't have that access. Yes?
The method that you're using for these custom pages is basically give them a big body feel and allow them to become part of things.
Give them a big body fill and a rule book. I cannot tell you how many times Ed has gotten called at night because the page is broken because they missed the closing div.
How does the responsiveness work on the site?
So rule book. If you want to build a custom page, your developer on the team has to know how to build responsive custom pages. So that's something that we are working with them. We give them tidbits and guidance and, use this framework to do this, but we are pushing them to build responsive pages as well. All right, was there one more question? Yep.
Do they have a dev environment, or are they just dropping us right into the main site?
Right now, they are on their own. So just like any of us could go and build an HTML page with CSS and JavaScript, you can use Firebug, your own IDE. That's what they're doing now. They do not have a Drupal dev environment. We have dev environments, of course, but the teams don't use those.
Well, I mean, if they don't publish it, and they have preview capability, and they haven't published it yet, and outside site with their CSS and JSS overrides, which are site-wide, there's actually a preview mode, and they can actually view any page in the site in that preview mode just for their session. And then when they say that looks good, then they save it. So they're giving them some tools to limit the chances that they'll work their site.
It happens though from time to time. It happens from time to time. Yes?
And then in alternative, why did you choose to go with 32 sites?
Can you repeat that?
Why did you choose to go with 32 sites? Or how many teams there are versus having a multi-site?
So multi-site was something that, I'll be honest, we chose it for not the right reason. The end of the day, we had problems with teams sharing clusters and resources of things. So for instance, we could have one database server go down and it would affect 5 teams. It was just lots of we wanted to just get that whole interlocking of teams out of the way. So if Cavaliers goes down, the other guys are up. We didn't want any sharing of resources. And then also, if we want to, let's say we know LeBron is, changing teams again tomorrow, we can amp up that pool of the Cavaliers silo without having to touch any other teams.
They have very scheduled live because you make changes, they can make changes in the pages, right? And they make it scheduled out next Monday only those changes needs to be live. Those kind of.
You mean like scheduled changes?
Yeah. We don't have any.
But it's on the roadmap. They've asked for it. They do want the ability to have scheduled content updates. Yes.
And you mentioned the single code base, so it's like a single Git repo that is just published to 30 different locations, or is it like how many copies of index.php are there?
So with 30 silos, you got to remember each site is by itself. So each site has its own copy of everything. So for our version control, we got smart. We have lots of bits. I'll say that. Versus one big bit. So if we wanted to change, one specific area of the site, we made it easy so we could do that. without having to do a whole deploy of the whole code stack. One more question?
Where's LeBron going?
that I can't tell you. But we have a lot of fun with these sites, and they do spike. So if you think about the NBA season, it starts in October, and the playoffs are in April. Summertime goes dead. So if you go to the team sites, you're going to see dancers auditioning and outfits and stuff. But then when the season starts, you'll see more official game content and game highlights. And then traffic goes up, and then of course playoffs, the team in the playoffs goes up, and then summer goes back down again. Any other questions? All right. So that I think is all of my presentation. And double check. Yep, that's it. So any other questions? Yep.
I'm sorry, but can you show us what happens when you torture the schedule? I thought it was a really pretty schedule, but I'm really interested in your responsive behavior.
Sure. Yep. So if you take your schedule page here, and you go here.
There we go.
When you torture it, where did that come from?
I like
I've been studying responsive
Is that
design
like the
for
rack
at least
or
a
what?
year now, and somebody else came up with that. It's a very popular term. It's browser torture, and there's lots of comments back and forth that torturing with a client in the room is like the stupidest thing you can do, but it's what you have to do in design. It's you just torture it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You run into lots of problems, and I'll tell you, in front of a client presentation is the last thing you want to try.
Right.
Torture 3 of them, get them ready, and then just flip between them. Do not let the client touch the screen or try to torture. He will ruin it, I guarantee you.
And that's, we have 4 breakpoints. So if you sit there and drag the browser back and forth across, you'll see some funkiness there because it's not designed for that use case scenario. It's really, if you're looking at it on the tablet, maybe you flip the tablet, but not this dragging the browser back and forth, which is a totally anomalous.
Nobody does it, but
yeah. Well, everyone sits there and does. and for us, the biggest challenge is the ads, because those ads are not going to change size as you drag that browser across. Those ads are located
and I really like
size
your solution. That's a really good one.
What was the solution on this?
So the solution is for ads, we have predefined ad sizes for every breakpoint, for every spot. And so when you load that site on a tablet, it says, I'm a tablet. I know I'm supposed to serve this ad size. Let me build an ad tag and then go get it. So we don't have responsive ads. And that's a world that's still morphing. A lot of ad agencies can't deliver responsive assets. They're just not there yet. So fixed assets, but we figure out which one to load based on what device you're on. The other thing I'm going to add, so with the browser torturing, just because something works like that doesn't mean it works on the device. That's something else we learned. So we go, yeah, that looks good. And I pull up my Galaxy S4 or whatever. I'm like, nope, doesn't look good. And so always, responsive design, test on the actual device.
If you take that torture and you push it as far as you can go in Chrome or anywhere, it's still not as small. It's a stupid iPhone 4.
Right.
God, I hate those things.
Don't start a fight in here now.
Open your DevTools on the side of the window, you can get it.
I guarantee you, every time you have to open an iPhone 4, is just what it is.
Yeah. But Chrome now has the new device simulator, if you guys are familiar with developer tools. So that's a little further step, right?
Really
but it's still not the device. So we've seen differences between even that and the real device. Yes?
In your, earlier this year, your deep times for development, how was it?
I can't share that, but it was a lot. But you know what? We managed the process, right? So we were kind of Agile-esque. We mapped out product features, sort of followed a rough iteration process, and we literally made the scope work with us. So if something was too complex, we would tell our business folks, it is too complex. Do you want to do this now, or do you want us to start on video? And those decisions were made. We still have a backlog of items that we de-scoped that we're still going to do at some point. But we made the process work for us. And it was reality. Everyone knew we had to do that tough timeline, so we had to make those decisions every day. Everything did not get in. Every bell and whistle was not there. Yes?
You said before that you were growing the mobile and tablet market. Can you give us an idea of how much at this point in time?
I will tell you this, if you look at stats, so 2 years ago, desktop was here, phone and tablet was here, now you're seeing this, right? So it's not just code-wise you got to react to that, the businesses have to react to that, right?
NBA has the youngest demographic of any spaces, so very heavy at the tablet and mobile.
Okay, so just one more question. So you actually have an appreciation. I don't have any clients that come close. I'd say 20% is the closest we get for penetration for mobile. Of the penetration on mobile, can you say that the time on site is much greater than a desktop or average to the desktop?
It's different. So when you look at, and this is kind of industry-wide too, think about the things you do on mobile. You're not going to be scrolling. You're going to be playing video. Right? You're going to be clicking links. So we have seen the activities lean more towards what the device can do, right? So we have seen video just be a popular thing, and that's across the board, right? Because when you're pulling up your phone, you're 9 times out of 10 watching the game, and you want to see what's going on right then and there. So you're not going to be looking at the, tickets page, you're going to be looking for video and photos.
And another dynamic here is that all the teams have apps run on mobile devices. However, the content for those apps is still being produced by Drupal, and we generate feeds for those apps. So a lot of that mobile traffic is growing in the app world as well. But even though they're still using Drupal as the CMS for publishing videos and stories.
Are those fully native apps?
Yes, fully native apps. So we don't build those apps at Turner, but we give them the data out of Drupal, the stories and content they're publishing out of Drupal.
For that, did you use a pre-existing web services module for Drupal, or did you write your own?
We have a proprietary system.
We did not use web services. We made the choice not to do that.
Yeah.
So we thought about it. We evaluated it. It is an out-of-the-box thing to do that, and it's pretty cool. You'll hear about it all at Drupal Camp and all that. You got to really evaluate if you need it and what you're trying to do with it.
To that end, and with the Drupal 7 site, we certainly move this way, but I think the trend would be more of the headless Drupal, where you're really leveraging Drupal as a CMS system and producing feeds, and then on the front end, it's just pretty much all JavaScript, pulling in content dynamically with very lightweight templates. We did some of that on this site. We're kind of still 50-50 right now, but there are areas on the site that are just very lightweight with JavaScript pulling in the content from.
And that's with any technology, right? Just because you picked up Java doesn't mean you do everything in Java. I mean, you have to sort of step out the box and say, okay, what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to read live game scores. I might not need Drupal for that. Drupal can post the page, but it doesn't need to be reading scores every 30 seconds. That's going to kill your servers.
But the reason why we didn't do that 100% is we wanted the ability for the editors to go in using panels, drag panes around and put them where they're not, those blocks on the front page. That would be a lot more complicated to do totally on the client side when we had an out-of-box solution, in Drupal for doing that. So.
Any other questions?
Are there major differences or interesting differences between PGA and NBA just because they're different sports?
So think about the demographics. I used to work on the ads team supporting PGA. I was a product manager for a while, and I got lots of Viagra ads and Jeep Cherokee ads. The demographics are different. So people who watch golf are different than people who watch basketball. Would you agree, Ivan?
Yeah.
And then think about PGA. PGA is probably more oriented around those spiky events. So they want to know about the championship. They want to know about Masters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. NBA is sort of season-long. It's more fan-based, right? So if you love the Cavaliers, you're going to be on the Cavaliers site. And that's something that the NBA in general is trying to push in the new direction is fan experience.
Second thing about that, did you guys do maybe more so with the PGA, any work specifically for design for accessibility of websites?
So we have tackled accessibility on NBA. I don't think PGA is there yet.
I didn't hear your question.
For web accessibility?
Web accessibility.
Have you guys tackled it? No, just keyboard usage.
Making sure for all your forms and everything tabs correctly. You can navigate using a keyboard.
Yeah, we've tackled it because the NBA, long story short, you have lots of different fans going in the arenas. The websites have to be reflective of the fans. So we did tackle it last year pretty heavily. And we're still that's another area like responsive design. You can't just be accessible one day and then say I'm done. You have to keep being accessible. So it's a
we have
constant
standards that we strive to meet. Accessibility is not a well-defined target to begin with, so there's a lot of debate even what it means to be accessible and what you need to do. But the bottom line is a lot of the accessibility stuff is just doing stuff not to make it so it isn't accessible. It's the things you don't do, as opposed to what you can do. It's easy to mess up accessibility.
Yeah.
If you just follow good standards and let the browser do what it needs to do, that's usually the best way to make site accessible.
And that'd be a good topic for
what about apps versus mobile web?
Yeah.
What's the usage of those two?
So it's still something that's kind of changing. I can't share the specifics, obviously, but I will say that mobile is rising, period. Like, no one could have guessed that now more people would hit a site on a mobile device than a desktop. That's going to change people's thinking. It's even changing the industry's thinking on, do you build a mobile website or do you build an app? Because people are still teetering in that decision, right? So that's something I think we're going to watch and see how it goes industry-wide. Because right now we're building everything. We're building websites and apps and hoping that we can get them on either place. But long-term, it may go more towards one way or the other for the industry. So that's something we're keeping an eye on.
So is it true that the response time on the mobile device is like on the order of 20 seconds?
So that's something we're working on. So that's something, again, constant process, part of responsive design. A lot of people focus on getting something working, and we did a lot of that. Now we're going back and reviewing, like, what can we optimize just for mobile? Because mobile is different. When you're on your phone and you're sitting for like 8 seconds, and you're like, I'm done. I'm just not going to even fool with it anymore. And that's it. You just move on to something else. So that's something we are working on and optimizing the sites better for mobile. But that is a big concern. You can have someone upload a background image here that's 3 meg, and then they call us and say mobile is not working right. It's loading too slow. So it's a digging process, right? So we use web page test or page speed from Google to figure out what's going on with all the assets from the page, and then we have to provide guidance. But there are some things we can be doing better too. So one of the things that Ivan mentioned, remember he had the point about queries and subqueries and subqueries and subqueries? Some of the modules you will pick up will do that, and we've had that. I've been on a call and I'm like, where is this query coming from? Select star from, select star from, select star from, and it's coming from a contrib module. So you got to be open for all that stuff, and all that will impact user performance, end user performance. All right, any other questions? Yes? We've had one go back. We have thought about doing it more. It's odd for us because a lot of the times when we build something, it may be too custom for the community, but it's something we definitely want to do more of. But we have had one go to the community around site authentication. So. All right, anything else? All right, cool. Thank you, guys.